Assembling the oZone gaming cockpit. Step 1. Attaching the front and rear section of the frame. Take the front of your frame in one hand, rear of your frame where the seat goes in your other hand, and push them together. Grab your long carriage bolts. They're the longest ones in your bag. 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top. Insert the bolts and tighten them down with flat spring washers and nuts. Step 2. Attaching your keyboard tray mounting post and shifter or throttle mounting post. Grab your mounting posts. They are the same for both sides. Decide which side you want your keyboard mouse tray mounted, but I prefer the left. Therefore, this mounting post needs to be attached to the last 2 holes. So just run your bolts through the middle-sized bolts. Run those through and tighten them down very tight. Next, we have the shifter mount on the other side. I recommend putting it either in the first 2 holes or the second and third hole. Go ahead and run your bolts through and tighten them down very tight. Step 3. Mounting the seat to the seat frame. I recommend using gloves or a rag to protect your fingers. Turn your seat over on its side like this. While pulling the handle or lever at the front, you can manually move the sliders all the way to the farthest way back to give you access to the holes. Again, make sure you do this with gloves or a rag because you can hurt your fingers inside the sliders. Once you get them to the back, make sure they're equal on both sides, meaning they're the same amount of teeth showing on the left and on the right. Hover the seat on top of the rails, just like this. Sit it down and run your bolts through and hand tighten. Then sit in the seat, pull the lever, slide the seat all the way back to get access to the front holes. And then shift or slide the seat accordingly until you can see the holes on the seat frame. Then run your bolts through and hand tighten. Then give it maybe 1 or 2 more turns with a wrench. Please not to over tighten these bolts as it will impede the function of the sliders. Step 4, monitor stand. Take the 2 long vertical pieces of tubing. Notice there are 3 height settings. Run each tubing through the connector. I recommend the middle height setting for most people, as I'm 6'2" and use this setting myself. Run a bolt through from outside in and put your nut on and hand tighten. You want to keep these a little bit loose for now. Then stand up and slot in the 2 ends of the vertical tubing into the mounting posts located on the front of the frame. Slot them in, and once they're in, you can tighten these 2 bolts at the top with a wrench, nice and tight. Lastly, tighten down the 2 plastic knobs located at the bottom of the vertical post. Now, mounting your monitor. There are 2 sizes of VISA bolts located in the bag, one longer one, one shorter. For flat back monitors, use the shorter ones. For recessed back monitors, use the longer ones and stack some washers. Now be sure you never ever thread in more than 5 millimeters into the back of your monitor as you could damage them. Step 5, pedal tray. You'll notice your pedal tray and your pedal tray mount looks like this. The correct orientation of this mounting bar is important for the screw to go through if you are setting the pedal tray in its most forward position. You will notice on the bottom of the pedal tray there are 2 sets of brackets. One here on the end is for mounting your pedal tray closer to you. The next set, where the hole is for moving the pedal tray further away from you. I will use this one right now, using the second setting. I'm checking first to make sure the orientation of the post is correct, and then just hold it up to the front section of the cockpit and run your bolts through and tighten them down nice and tight with a wrench. Then lay your pedal tray onto the bar again and run your bolts through like so. Step 6, tidying up. To finish, slot in your keyboard tray mounting arm, and then slide on your keyboard tray onto the square tubing. Notice how to operate the keyboard tray. Next, slot in your shifter mount if you're planning on using it. Otherwise, you can leave it off. And lastly, slot in your main mount. Use this for steering wheels or yokes. And that's all. The oZone based cockpit assembly is complete. We do hope you enjoy it.